The Airbnb and short stay industry here in Lagos have become more and more promising, with locations like Ikeja GRA, Lekki, and the Victoria Island, including Ikoyi also, amassing like around 40% of the current market share. And a lot of investors with short stay, shortlet, and Airbnb apartments in these locations are already racking in millions monthly. Even the charge per night in most of these locations continue to rise almost daily. Some locations in Lekki and even in Ikoyi are charging in dollars for their Airbnb apartment. So because of this, a lot of investors have found the Airbnb and shortlet market here in Lagos very, very attractive. And every month, every week, a lot of investors are already buying new apartments, new service apartments, majorly for them to operate on Airbnb and short stays. But in this episode of Meet the Property Guy, we'll be looking at the 5 common mistakes by investors, the 5 common mistakes by those who are venturing into the shortlet and short stay apartments here in Lagos. In case you are coming across a video like this for the first time, please Meet the Property Guy Property channel, and this is where we discuss everything real estate. We just tell you to buy or to invest in real estate. We share tips, guides, and advice on where to buy, what to look out for, and the simple things for you to avoid. So after watching this particular guide, I will also advise you that you watch our previous episodes, our previous videos. There are lots of topics that we have shared already that you are going to learn a lot from. So let's go into the topic, the 5 common mistakes by investors that are investing or buying apartments majorly for short stay and Airbnb here in Lagos. Now, the first common mistake by investors that are buying service apartments for short stay and shortlet here in Lagos is picking a wrong location. Now, as I mentioned earlier, there are some locations here in Lagos that are an existing market for Airbnb and short stays. Places like Ikoyi, Banana Island, Victoria Island, Ikeja GRA. A lot of people daily, weekly are taking up service apartments in this place for 1 week stay, 2 week stay, 1 month stay. Some are even taking for 3 months stay in this place and paying or being charged per day, because these locations are already existing market for Airbnb. And the reason why a lot of people are looking at this location is very simple. The kind of class and the kind of developments, the proximity at Ikoyi, Victoria Island, and Ikeja to the major business districts in Lagos is very, very easy. So that's why a lot of people, and the security there is very, very fantastic. So that's why a lot of people are very comfortable to get a short stay or a shortlet apartment in these locations, so that there are 2 months or there are 6 weeks in Lagos, they can be in a short stay apartment, feel like home, and then get whatever they want to do done. Now, there are some locations here in Lagos that are an emerging market for short stays. Is not existing market. That means the Airbnb and short stay market is only gradually moving to this location. So when you are investing, you need to really outline it if this location that you are buying for short stay or for Airbnb is an existing market or an emerging market, because this will give you a clue and a guideline on your occupancy rate, on how many days on average in a month you are likely to have an occupant in that apartment. So you are not going to invest in a service apartment, spend your millions, maybe 30 million, 40 million to buy a service apartment, and then end up being disappointed because you are getting a low occupancy rate on that apartment. It's just because you did not do an analysis of that location before you invest. Right now, a lot of serviced apartment developments are already ongoing in Ekpe, around the Ekpe Resort and Spa, facing the lagoon, and so on, preparing that location for shortlet and Airbnb. Preparing is emerging, is coming there. Same thing with Alaro City. A lot of service apartments also are already being developed in Alaro City, preparing that location also for short stay and shortlet, because the proposed airport, the national airport at Lekki, will be directly opposite the Alaro. So which means that a lot of people that will be taking their flights there either they're taking their flight or just descending, will be interested in a short stay or shortlet apartment that is around that proposed airport. Remember, it's proposed, they haven't built it yet, so it's also an emerging market. A lot of places, a lot of apartments also are being built around Abijo, Sangotedo, Yaba, Madison axis right now. They are all also emerging markets. The short stay and Airbnb market will get there, but is not there yet. So these are very important analyses that you have to look at when you want to invest for short stay or for Airbnb. Some locations on the mainland also here are also already selling for short stays, but short stays on the market share of the mainland for short stays, apart from in Ikeja, is very, very low. Surulere, Yaba, Magodo, around Magodo also, there are short stay apartments in these locations already thriving, but the market share is quite lower compared to around the Ikate and Lekki Phase 1. Now, the second common mistakes that I find a lot of investors that are investing for Airbnb and short stay making is trying to do it all alone. Now, it's not advisable. There are a lot of money to be made in Airbnb and short stays in Lagos. Actually, that market have not even hit its potential at all. But don't try to do it all alone. Don't try to want to make all the profits or all the returns alone. Try to delegate. Try to outsource. Now, there are a lot of shortlet managers here in Lagos, which are companies that are already familiar with the market, are already familiar with the trends, the market trends, when there is likely to be high occupancy, when there is likely to be low occupancy. And most of these shortlet managers already have their pool of agents that markets for them. And also, some of them even already have existing customers that they can throw your apartment or your service apartment to. So that's why try to delegate, try to outsource. The advertising part of getting occupants into the apartment, don't try to do it alone. Outsource it. The managing the apartment, like cleaning, ensuring that all appliances are well maintained. The legal part also, just to ensure that you have legal backing for the people that are coming in, that are being screened, so that it's not going to be like people that are going to use your apartment for some crime scenes or for some illegal causes. Try to outsource it too. Your main responsibility should be putting in the capital and then looking at the balance sheet if you are making money or not. In terms of advertising, managing the apartment, try to outsource it. Doing it all alone, you are not going to make enough. If you really want to make a lot of money in any business or in any industry, you need to understand that you can't make or eat everything alone. You have to share. You have to be willing to share. So outsource the advertising part, outsource the shortlet management part. Just look at credible shortlet managers. You can not even give a single shortlet manager. You can give like 3-4 of them. So that if this one is not bringing in occupants, this one will bring occupants. If this one is not bringing occupants, another one bring occupants. And the more people you have advertising and they're marketing your apartment, the more likely that you're also going to get an occupants for that week or even for that month. Now, the third common mistake by investors that are investing in service apartment for Airbnb and short stays here in Lagos is that they don't have a market backup or an even alternative. A lot of people just buy a service apartment, 2-bed, 3-bed, furnish it, and that's quite a lot of money. You know, you're already spending around like 80 million, 100 million, 60 million just to buy and furnish that space, and you don't have a backup plan, you don't have an alternative. You just put in place that okay, shortlet manager, you sign a contract and give them to advertise that location for you. Now, there's so many reasons, there are so many events that can hinder people intending or being interested to take your apartment for short stays. And that's why you have to have an alternative. Particularly, even the market, the shortlet and Airbnb market is a very diluting market. There are peak seasons and there's dry seasons. So there's periods where everyone wants to take an apartment for short stays, just like festival periods and then the end of the year. And there are some certain period of the year where everything is just dry. So you need to have a plan, a backup plan to what's going to happen if I'm not getting occupants. What's going to happen if we hit the dry period where we don't have much people that are going to be staying in this apartment? Will that apartment just be there empty and I'll be paying all the running expenses of the water, the maintenance, and other things. That's why you have to have a backup plan. And one of the backup plans that you can have is if you have this beautiful service apartment, maybe it's a 2-bed or 3-bed, apart from people having to take the apartment for short stays, you can also have a plan to use that apartment for maybe bash parties. There are a lot of people doing bash parties right now, and they're not going to go to a club or they're not going to an event. So it can just be a bash party of like maybe 10, 5, or even 15 people, and they can just take a short stay apartment for maybe 3 days and then have their party there. So you can also have that as part of your package. So for the period that you are not getting the dry period where there are not much people that are taking the apartment for short stays, you can just give your shortlet managers to be advertising that your apartment for bash parties or mini parties. You get it now. So it's more likely that at that period of time you can still get like maybe 3, 4, or 5 people that are going to take your place for short stays, and even people charge more for parties than even for stay. When a short stay is like maybe 60k per night, for people that want to take it for a party, it's likely going to be like 100k per night, and it's likely going to be like minimum of 3 days or 4 days. Now, another market advantage or market that you can look at putting your short stay apartment for is also for people that want to do romantic nights, like people that want to propose. Getting it? All right, so like you can also tell your shortlet managers to also have a package where they can arrange the room for majorly for people. They can set the room, set the atmosphere for people majorly that just want to propose. So that other opportunities like that also that you can just think about, just to ensure that at least at all something is coming up, something is coming in from that apartment, regardless of the market is in the peak period or in the dry period. You can even think of shared apartment too. You have a 3-bedroom apartment or 2-bedroom apartment, so you can just decide to for your shortlet managers to advertise it that someone can take a 1-bedroom instead of taking the 2-bedroom at once. Someone can take the 1-bedroom, another person can take the 1-bedroom, and then they can just be there. So you can just think of different market advantages, different market backups that you can have for that apartment, so that if the shortlet or Airbnb or short stays is not bringing in funds for that week or for that month, you still have alternatives, you still have other backups that can at least you can use that apartment for, and you can still make money. Now, the fourth common mistake by a lot of investors that are buying apartments, service apartments for short stays here in Lagos, is that they always look at the return on investment and they don't look at the capital that they have to spend. Now, if you have 5, 6, 7 people that want to buy an apartment for short stay, that okay, why do you want to invest for short stay? Why are you not doing buy and flip? Why are you not doing land banking? They're going to start telling you, that place is no good. You know, you can charge 60k per night or 50k per night on that apartment, and they start to do the math. 50k per night times 7 times 30 times whatever, and they start looking at what they are going to be making in a year. They can make 4 million, they can make 5 million, they can make 6 million, but actually in reality it's not always the case. And you're only looking at the figures in numbers, because when you start to put in a lot of reality check on those numbers, then you're going to realize that it's not that rosy. Don't just look at the returns, don't just look at what you can make, how much you can make monthly, how much you can make per annum on that investment. You also need to look at the running expenses. How much will it cost if for us to be spending on lights, electricity per week, per month? Electricity now in Lagos is very expensive. Particularly, you know, these apartments will be like 24/7 on AC. Like you have the cooker, you have the oven, you have the washing machine, you have all other appliances in that place that have to be working 24/7. Electricity is expensive. Now, then you also have to consider the other running expenses like maintaining the apartment. You also consider other expenses like paying the service charge, because your apartment will likely be in a service estate where there is a central water, there is security, there is estate maintenance and everything, and they're going to be charging you for that monthly, regardless of whether you make a dime for that apartment that month or not. They're going to pay these service charges. So considering those running expenses is very, very, very important, and just don't have to look at what you have to make only. You also have to look at what you are also going to be spending, and you need to weigh it side by side for you to understand if it actually makes sense to you or not. Because likely you are going to the market as a newbie, as a first timer, so it may even take a few time before things balance up and you start really making the sales that you envision from that investment. So once you are going to short stays, once you are going to Airbnb here in Lagos, it's just like you are setting up a business. So everything that requires every step that you need to consider if you are starting up a business, you also need to consider it for this short stay, to look at the running expenses, look at the market trend, the peak periods, look at the occupancy rates, and just weigh a lot of options. So don't just look at how much you are going to make that telling you that this location, a 2-bed is 60k per night, a 2-bed is 80k per night, and you're already doing the maths and they're already telling you that you can make 6 million, 8 million naira in a year. You need to go back to the drawing table and actually look at what you're also going to be spending, because it's very likely that you're even going to be spending this amount regardless of if you are making a dime or making a. So lastly, the fifth common mistake by investors that are buying apartments for or investing in an apartment for Airbnb here in Lagos is no business plan. I've already explained part of that in some of my previous points. You need to have a business plan. Anybody that is throwing a short stay investment to you, tell them to give you a business plan on that investment. How are we going to get occupants? How are we going to get people that are going to be staying in these apartments? What are the available occupancy rates? Is it 9 days in a month? Is it 10 days in a month? Is it 15 days in a month on average? Is it 3 days in a month on average? So a business plan will give you all the details you need about that location, the current price range, the occupancy rates, the running expenses, the peak periods, and this business plan can also help you to now do your return on investment table, where you can look at, okay, this is likely what is 9 days per month you can get occupants, which is like 30%. So how much is it per day? 60k per night times 9 days in a month. So you get your income. Then you look at it, how much are we going to be spending on electricity per month? How much are we going to be spending on serviced apartment per month? How much are we going to be spending on advertising or advertisement per month? So then you can now look at, okay, this is what I'm likely to make on average, and this is what I'm likely to be spending on average. Does it balance? And you can also start to now look at the break-even period, which is the number of years it will take you to get back your initial capital that you have invested into it. And then you can also look at the market changes. How fast is it likely that the amount you are charging per night right now can increase? How likely is it for people to be interested more in that location? Are people moving into that location right now, or people are moving away from that location? So these are just the different things that have to be in the business plan and can guide your investment in the location that you want to invest for short stays. So the Airbnb and short stays market here in Lagos is a very, very promising one. As I said earlier, the market has not even matured yet, it has not even capped yet, it's just gradually rising. And with the rate of service apartments that are being built in Ikate, service apartments that are being built in Lekki Phase 1, and gradually more service apartments going to the Sangotedo, Abijo down to Ikeja, I feel by the time we say like 3-4 years, the market would have matured a lot more, and a lot of people that made a lot of money from that market too. So first of all, know if you are buying to an existing market or an emerging market. Don't try to do everything alone. Try to give your apartment to a shortlet manager so that they can take off most of the headaches away from you. Then also try to look at what you'll be spending. Don't just be looking at the return on investment only. Have a clear business plan and also a market backup. If short stay doesn't make money from that apartment or doesn't bring money from that apartment, what are the backups that you have to ensure that at least that your investments doesn't just sit idle there? So in case you have any view, any comments, any feedback that you would like to share with us, feel free to do so. The comment is open. Tell us your opinion, tell us your perspective, tell us what you feel. Have you invested in shortlets already? Are you planning to invest already? Are you already making money from the market, or are you being skeptical about how the Airbnb and short stay market here in Lagos is going to thrive? just share your opinion, share your feedback here down here in the comments. So as you know, more property on the planet, your property advisor, your property consultant, Rabi Mustafa, thanks a lot for following us. Thanks a lot for being part of this channel. And as I always say, if you feel this is educative, this is really interesting, and you feel like, oh wow, this is a fantastic content, try to give us a thumb like. Yeah, I love the thumb likes. Try to give us a thumb likes, and also try to share this content with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed to our channel for all the guides, all the free guides, all the free advice I've been sharing, the only thing you can do for me, just subscribe. All right, thanks, and see you later.